The ocean is the last frontier. We use many of its resources for our everyday life. It contains economic value, food, and a various array of animals. Due to human nature, we have a tendency to destroy our own resources, and one way we do this is by obtaining crude oil for offshore drilling. I'm Troy, and this is my partner Tim, and we present to you Oil 2.
On April 20th, 2010, the Deepwater Horizon oil rig exploded, killing 11 workers and injuring 17. They were drilling 1 mile underwater on the ocean floor when the well exploded. The well spewed oil for 87 days until July 15, when BP put a new cap to seal the well. But the Coast Guard determined oil was still seeping. Finally, on September 19th, after numerous attempts by BP to seal the well, the Coast Guard declared the well effectively dead. The aftermath of the spill was 205.8 million gallons of crude oil into the Gulf of Mexico's ecosystem and coastline. Roughly 1,300 miles of coastal and wetlands had some sort of visible oiling. Over 25,000 marine animals, including bottlenose dolphins, spinner dolphins, melon-headed whales, and sperm whales, were also harmed or killed. Also, marine animals are getting lung diseases by toxic exposure to oil. Around 82,000 birds harmed or killed, approximately 6,000 sea turtles harmed or killed, over 1 billion of fish larvae estimated of dying. Oyster losses are mounting between 4 to 8.3 billion, and it is estimated that 10 to 20 million gallons of crude oil is still laying on the ocean's floor. It will be many decades to determine the long-term effects of the Gulf's ecosystem from the BP spill. The Gulf fishing and tourism industry was 3 to 4 billion a year before the BP spill. With the oysters and reefs decimated, the industry was severely hurt and still reeling from the spill 5 years later. The long-term impact of fish and seafood habitats may not be known for decades. BP is to pay over $5.6 billion in claims to businesses along the Gulf Coast. Of the 368,230 claims filed, BP has only paid out 94,600 to date. BP is dragging their feet paying claims by trying to tie up courts with appeals and large amount of paperwork for business owners to deter them from suing.
Cleanup. The first step to keeping the ocean clean from oil is oil prevention. This includes keeping all equipment safe and working properly. The second is to having proper procedures when something goes wrong. And lastly is keeping highly trained staff in control. If prevention does not work, then cleanup begins. There are a few major ways to clean up oil spill. First is just to leave it and let nature work its course. But the only way this works is if there's nothing that can be harmed to the surrounding area. This is usually not the case, so there's more options. Dispersants, controlled burning, and absorbent materials. Dispersants uses a liquid that separates the oil so it can be broken down into droplets so that microbes can take care of it. Controlled burning is using skimming boats to collect all the oil and then burning it from the top, and absorbent materials is using something that can soak up the oil, like a sponge. Lastly, there is a hair nets that uses hair and captures it, and hay also captures the oil. In conclusion, human nature is to exploit the resources and comes at a risk that can be devastating to human nature and human themselves. We must look at all the oil and oil spills, and we need to make sure we do not neglect our oceans and neglect our ecosystem.